WWE Crown Jewel is going to be happening this Friday, November 2nd, 2018, from the King Saud University Stadium in Saudi Arabia. Was this event on again, or was it off again? Was it going to be happening in the States on U.S. soil, or was it going to be happening in a different country? It just would not be happening in Saudi Arabia. There was a lot of questions up in the air that honestly had the wrestling community as a whole wondering what move was WWE going to be doing. But as we had saw late last week, tickets would go on sale for this Crown Jewel event in Saudi Arabia for the King Saud University venue, as opposed to it taking place at the King Fayed International Stadium, doing a little bit of renovation and all that right now. So that's why it was not going to be happening at that venue as originally planned, because of the developments happening there. But this is it. We know now that it's going to be happening in Saudi Arabia. And yes, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders will be doing a after show for Crown Jewel as soon as the event concludes. We'll be coming on live via YouTube and also on Spreaker as soon as the event wraps up on the East Coast. So do make sure you come on by, show some love, and represent. And I'm actually looking forward to this event because at the end of the day, putting the politics to the side, putting all of the scandal that's been making the headlines surrounding this event and all, and I appreciate where everybody is coming from that's making their stand, that's drawing that line in the sand and saying, no, I am not going to be watching this event. Hey, I respect where you're coming from, but me personally, at the end of the day, for me, this is all about entertainment. This is all about professional wrestling, and I gotta say, I'm actually looking forward to this event. And give me credit, at least I'm showing some type of consistency. When the Greatest Royal Rumble event had happened earlier this year, I was on this very show. As soon as that event had concluded and we did a live after show, there were a lot of curious people, and I would imagine there's going to be a lot of curious people that's going to be coming around this go round to find out what had happened at Crown Jewel. Of course, the biggest development that had came about with Crown Jewel, before we get ready to dive into some WWE Crown Jewel predictions, is that WWE Hall of Famer, the immortal Hulk Hogan, he has been added to Friday's Crown Jewel event. Now, at some point on Wednesday, Halloween, October 31st of 2018, he was added to the event listing, but then he magically was removed. WWE, they did not say anything at first, but a statement would be released a short time later saying that as far as the Hulkster's role at this event, he is going to be the host. So you hear that, you go, wow, talk about everything coming full circle for the Hulkster. Now, this will mark Hogan's first WWE appearance since WrestleMania 31 in 2015. So apparently this has been kind of set up for a while now, it seems, as far as the Hulkster coming in and working this WWE Crown Jewel event. As it's pointed out that those that had attended the Eric Bischoff one-man show in Newcastle on October 10th, that's how far back Hulkster doing something with Crown Jewel, that's how long that it's been in development now. How about that? As apparently during a private VIP meet and greet with Eric Bischoff before the show started, Eric Bischoff had noted that the Hulkster would be traveling to Saudi Arabia for the show. And then during an interview with the Orlando Sentinel last week, Hogan had noted that he was going to be traveling with the WWE to Saudi Arabia. He had said, and I quote at that time in that interview, "There are a lot of plans in the works. I'm looking forward to going to Saudi Arabia with the WWE. Looking forward to WrestleMania. But yeah, we're moving forward at a rapid pace. It's exciting to have this opportunity again after all these years where I was there and gone." And honestly, just to kind of follow up on what we had talked about on this week's RCWR show, which is now available on demand and on the downloads, it's really nice that these past couple of years we've been getting a more candid Hulkster. We've been getting a more open-minded, a more self-accountable Terry Bollea, if you will, just recalling how he acted when he was coming up in the business and how he had that strong arm over all other young and up-and-coming talents, as he had revealed in that same interview with the Orlando Sentinel that he was a politician, and that it was because of him always using backstage politics was he able to dominate the professional wrestling industry longer than Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, is because he always had his hand on that pulse. And if it meant he had to keep other people down, in particular up and coming talent, then so be it. Whatever he needed to do to maintain his position as the number one guy, then so be it. So I really have been just taken away within the past couple of years at this more mature, self-accountable Terry Bollea / Hulk Hogan that has come about. And all I have to say is don't stop, keep it coming. I really am loving it. But I'm actually happy that for the Hulkster fans, that they're going to be able to see him once again on WWE programming. I would imagine that the king and the family over there in Saudi Arabia, because we know the prince is a big fan of WWE, he was asking for the Ultimate Warrior, Yokozuna, and other guys, and it's like, Your Highness, those guys died a couple of years ago, but hey, we can actually give you this instead, right? And what an interesting week that it's been leading up to this Crown Jewel event, because we've had John Cena, who appears as though he's backed out of the event until we officially, and that's the thing I really want to drive home to people, because I know this is going to be a hot topic for a lot of podcasts all throughout the week. Everybody's going to be like, oh, John Cena backed out, John Cena backed out. I will go on ahead and give John Cena the benefit of the doubt until we hear from him in his own words. Hey, yes, I backed out, and I backed out for these respected reasons. Anything else right now is just speculation. But could you use common sense and say that, hey, maybe 8 out of 10, John Cena backed out because of the circumstances that had came about? Yeah, you actually could go in that direction. I know we have some people that are going to point out the whole, oh, well, John Cena standing his ground and not going to Saudi Arabia. Good for him. But to that I say, well, remember, John Cena did go to the greatest Royal Rumble event earlier this year. So, you know, he should have been scrutinized. He should have been under the microscope. He should have been getting criticism for going earlier this year. Now, look, for those of you that are being consistent and you're basically on John Cena both times, hey, more power to you. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody that's basically clapping John Cena and saying, hey, way to go, John Cena, way to stick it to the WWE and everything like that, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna bite into that just yet. I mean, we're using common sense, and you're led to the impression that John Cena, in light of everything that's been happening with that reporter, very tragic how he lost his life and everything, but you're under the impression that a guy like John Cena didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia because of all of that controversy. And you know what? If at the end of the day, if that's the conclusion that Cena came to, then that's his decision. And whether we like it or not, I tell you who's really the victims at fault for this that's not going to be able to see John Cena. It's the fans in Saudi Arabia, because when it's all said and done, those fans that bought those tickets for Crown Jewel as soon as they went live, and I mean, they were sold out in no time. In no time. Everybody else was focused on what was going on with the Evolution tickets and how those weren't really selling. It wasn't really sold out. I actually, if you're following me on Twitter at the RCWR show, I did acknowledge the day of Evolution how the tickets, they still were available. A handful of them were still available, but I also was very quick while I was in that whole ticket mindset, right? I did happen to also see what was going on with the Saudi Arabia tickets for Crown Jewel, saw that it was sold out, gave a congrats to Saudi Arabia for being able to sell out the venue and everything. So look, as soon as the dust had settled and tickets had became available via that Saudi Arabia website, the Saudis were all on it. These are fans that are very passionate about their wrestling. They have been loving the WWE product from afar for many, many years now. And for them to be in a position where they get what is really, when you stop and think about it, a rare delicacy, that is WWE coming right to their doorsteps. Yeah, they're probably going to move heaven and earth and do everything that they possibly can to try to go to this event. I feel sorry for them because I'm sure that there were a lot of them that were looking forward to at one point. Hey, John Cena. Oh, wow, Daniel Bryan. Oh, hey, Roman Reigns. And I'm sure that the Prince and the family, I'm sure that they probably were told by WWE's PR team. I don't think they were probably told the absolute truth on what's going on with John Cena, Daniel Bryan, but I tell you what, the way that things have been made up for Cena and Daniel Bryan exiting doesn't get any sweeter. I mean, if you would have told me 2 months ago that the Hulkster would be back at Crown Jewel and that we'd have a match where we're guaranteed a new WWE Universal Champion, I would say foul. I would say there's just no way that's going to be happening. Get that out of here. But that's where everything stands right now. So I got to tell you, the way this card has just shaped up, in particular, just this week alone, I am actually eagerly anticipating this event. I'm actually very glad that I had put in some much needed time off so that I can actually check out this event coming up on Friday. Without any further ado, on that note, let's go ahead and let's jump into this card. So again, WWE Crown Jewel prediction time for this event coming up on November 2nd. Let's see what we got here. So we have the WWE World Cup quarterfinals matches that's going to be playing about. So we've got Seth Rollins taking on Bobby Lashley. That's for the Raw side of things. Meanwhile, we'll also see Kurt Angle taking on Dolph Ziggler. So those two are your World Cup quarterfinal matches for the Raw side of things. With regards to Seth Rollins taking on Bobby Lashley, I am actually gonna go with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has just, my God, man, that man is on just a hot streak right now. He is on such a hot streak. And, you know, if I were booking this particular matchup, let me tell you how I would like to book it, but what's probably going to happen. If I were booking this particular match, I actually would love to have a situation occur where Dean Ambrose causes some type of interference, screws Seth Rollins out of the opportunity to advance through the quarterfinal. If that were me. But I just have this weird vibe. I just have this feeling that Dean Ambrose, I don't think he's going to be on this card. I think if anything, he may be tagging along because Renee Young is going to be providing color commentating. And for everybody that's out there on social media and they're kissing the butt of Renee Young, talking about how great of an accomplishment this is, blah, 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 blah. Just a little bit of a newsflash, people. I know that the women out there in Saudi Arabia are just now able to drive on their own, but they need to have supervision by a male or what have you, however that arrangement is set up, which I just think is silly, quite honestly. But hey, it is what it is, right? But for everybody that's getting on this bandwagon about Renee Young, oh my God, history here once again, blah, 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 blah. There have been a lot of outspoken female reporters, athletes, actors, actresses, models, you name it. All right. And when you just look with regards to the industry of broadcasting from out there in Saudi Arabia, there is a nice big bulk of outspoken women. I mean, it's up to you to respectfully go out there and do your own research, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Right. But if Dean Ambrose, and I think Dean Ambrose will be there in spirit, but I think he's really just going to be there to support Renee Young. I wouldn't be surprised. I can only imagine how much this is kind of eating up Renee Young and Dean Ambrose. If anybody had saw what went down with Raw this week while Michael Cole was just shelling out the promos for Crown Jewel. You just see Renee Young and she just has this disgusted look on her face, like she could not wait to get done talking about Crown Jewel. And if there is any part of me that is remotely looking forward to when we can have the talk of Crown Jewel finally being behind us, trust me, definitely this Friday after we get done doing the after show. It's going to be so nice to put this show in the books because of all the controversy that is just surrounding this. Just put a nice pretty little ribbon around it, move on to the next event. But that's how I would set up Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley. I actually would have Dean Ambrose interfere, but I don't think that's going to be happening. So we're pretty much just going to be dealing with a very, what I think will be a case of good, strong powerhouse that is of Bobby Lashley taking on a very high-flying, technical hybrid athlete in Seth Rollins. I got Seth Rollins advancing. And also the way I'm looking at this card, I'm also looking at it in a way of which maybe what the Prince and his family want to see when it's all said and done. Because, I mean, when this is all said and done, when you look at this card from top to bottom, this is pretty much really showing a lot of love and catering towards what the Saudi family wants. For the Kurt Angle taking on Dolph Ziggler, Kurt Angle hands down. I'm going with Kurt Angle hands down. This match, though, it should be a damn good technical matchup. I'm of all the matches, this is the one I'm really looking forward to the most, because if I'm not mistaken, and I do not believe I am mistaken, I think this is the first time that Kurt Angle and Dolph Ziggler have locked it up, if my memory serves correctly. Because remember, Kurt Angle has spent more time in TNA than he did in the WWE. Now, I did some research with regards to this, and I was really, okay, did they do something already? And from what I've been able to find in my research leading all the way up to now, Kurt Angle, Dolph Ziggler, they have never done anything in the ring. Believe it or not, they never did anything in the ring. Now, when you just match this up, anybody that still has a little bit of doubt, all you got to do is just really look at the time period in which Dolph Ziggler and Kurt Angle had came into the WWE. So one of the first things you want to do, home in on Kurt Angle. Look at that first run that he had in the WWE, leading all the way up until his exit from the promotion. He rolled out of the WWE in 2006. Meanwhile, when you look at Dolph Ziggler, he pretty much came into the WWE. It all pretty much started around 2004, 2005-ish, when he was Chavo Guerrero's caddy. Remember when Chavo Guerrero was running around as Curran White? He was running around during that period. And he was also doing the Spirit Squad shortly after that. And Spirit Squad, that was for like 1 year. That was like 2005 to 2006. But after that, he had returned to OVW for a hot cup of coffee. And then 2008, 2010, he got repackaged as Dolph Ziggler and everything. So according to my notes, somebody's more than welcome. If you can dig up something that's a hidden gem, let me know. But as far as I know, Kurt Angle, Dolph Ziggler, they never did lock it up together, believe it or not. So I'm actually looking forward to this one. I think this could be the match that's going to be stealing the show or the entire card. It's going to be the match of the night. I'm looking at that one to be the most technical, but when it's all said and done, I'm looking at Kurt Angle advancing into that one. So pretty much those are your two right there. Now let's look at the SmackDown side of things. For the SmackDown side of things, we have Jeff Hardy taking on The Miz. Again, this is your WWE World Cup quarterfinal match for the SmackDown side. They've got two matches. Jeff Hardy taking on The Miz. Oh, I would like to believe Jeff Hardy is going to advance. Rey Mysterio taking on Randy Orton. I gotta go with Randy. No, correction. I've got to go with Rey Mysterio. Yes, I've got to go with Rey Mysterio. So we just plucked there 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now let's go to your WWE World Cup semifinals match. So basically, it is going to be, who we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm looking at Seth Rollins taking on Kurt Angle. Woo, daddy, that should be good. Yeah. I got to go with Kurt Angle again. I think when it's all said and done, Kurt Angle is definitely going to be in the finals matchup. Let's see. And then for Jeff Hardy taking on Rey Mysterio, I'm actually going to say Rey Mysterio. And I think your World Cup Finals match, it's going to be Rey Mysterio taking on Kurt Angle. I've got Kurt Angle winning the whole damn thing when it's all said and done. But that's the order in which I'm seeing everything transpire. Let's go on to our next matchup. We're going to see The Bar take on The New Day. We're not really sure what combination of The New Day, but they'll be facing The New Day. It's a tag team match for the SmackDown tag titles. For some reason, I am picturing a really good feel moment for The New Day. I don't believe that the tag titles are going to change hands. Like, I think that's the one question that you have to ask yourself too, which is a title going to be changing hands at this pay-per-view? And of the matches where there is a title at stake, I mean, look, you've got the WWE Universal Championship. That's vacant. Guaranteed we could get a champion. And I'll actually get to that match in a minute, but I'm just not convinced that New Day will be walking out of Saudi Arabia as the new SmackDown Tag Champions. I think a scenario that's probably going to occur is maybe somehow The Bar gets themselves disqualified and New Day basically wins that way. But, or maybe even a count out, possibly. But I'm just not seeing The Bar drop in the tag titles. I see these guys, if anything, continuing their feud going into Survivor Series. Let's see. Our next matchup, we've got AJ Styles taking on Samoa Joe, WWE Championship. I gotta go with AJ Styles. I would be shocked if Samoa Joe were to get that WWE Championship. At this point, I just don't feel in my heart of hearts it's going to be happening. If there was ever a time for me to say, you know what, I'm behind Joe, Joe's going to get it. If ever there was a time, that last little bit of hope that I had pretty much went out the door at, I want to say, my God, was it SummerSlam? Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was SummerSlam. That was the last time that Samoa Joe, AJ Styles had locked it up. And I really felt as though, well, if you're not going to do it now, then when? You know, when are you going to do it, right? So we had that great match there between them at SummerSlam, and nothing had happened. And that was pretty frustrating. I would have to say that was pretty frustrating. But then, see, you guys thought I forgot. Then they had that rematch at WWE Super Showdown. Many of us, including myself, had thought for sure those two were going to be tearing it up and that Joe was going to be getting it there at Super Showdown. But it didn't happen. And you were just left kind of scratching our heads going, well, what the hell? When is Joe gonna, if now's not the time, when is Joe gonna get it? Because, I mean, when you go back and you look at how long these two men have been feuding with each other, I mean, this goes all the way back, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys can definitely correct me. This goes as far back as, I want to say SummerSlam. Is as far back as it goes. So just marinate on that for a few ticks. So that's August in the books. Then you've got Hell in a Cell. That's September. Then you also had the Super Showdown event that was in early October. And now you got November. So, I mean, this has been 4 months now. This has been 4 outings that these men have been continuing to go at it. And honestly, if it wasn't for the recent injuries that Joe had suffered, I so would say Joe all the way. I would honestly be shocked if Joe wins the title. I honestly, legitimately would, but I'm just not seeing it happen. So I'm going to say AJ Styles for the retain. Let's see how many other matches do we have to go here. Not that many more to go. So we have that match knocked out. Brock Lesnar taking on Braun Strowman, vacant WWE Universal Championship. I'm gonna say Brock Lesnar. I'm really under the impression that Brock Lesnar is going to win the title and Braun Strowman is gonna continue to give chase to Brock Lesnar. I think this makes more sense in the world because you got to build up Survivor Series. That's one of your big major 4 pay-per-view events. And I think at this point, having the Survivor Series, look, it's happening in the States. You got to draw the tickets at the gate. You got to sell those pay-per-view buy rates, network subscriptions, and all that. It makes a lot of sense for Brock Lesnar to win the title at Crown Jewel. I hope that if I were setting this match up, I would do some type of fuckery. Straight up, I would have Drew McIntyre and or Dolph Ziggler somehow get involved in this match. Screw Braun Strowman, right? I mean, I would love it more if it was a situation where it was all on Drew McIntyre, but give me either Drew or the combo of Drew and Ziggler. But somehow I'm seeing a scenario like that come about where Strowman gets screwed, and that'll set up your couple of weeks of Raw programming where Braun now is just hell-bent trying to do everything that he can to get his hands on Ziggler, McIntyre, get them out the way, get that rematch against Lesnar for the title at Survivor Series. I think that's honestly the way that it's going to be playing out. Last match to talk about, we've got D-Generation X. That should be the closer of the night. D-Generation X is Shawn Michaels, Triple H, going to be taking on the Brothers of Destruction tag team matchup. Interesting one right here. I am going to say I'm going to go with the Brothers of Destruction. I'm going to go with the Brothers of Destruction. I can't look any more past anything else that could possibly be happening with Shawn Michaels until I see how this particular match ends. Because we're continuing to hear all of these rumblings about Shawn Michaels possibly in a one-on-one matchup, maybe even against The Undertaker or whatnot. And I'm sorry, I can't entertain all of that right now. But I mean, just kind of going with the current story arc that's been put in place and everything culminating to this Saudi Arabia event, I would like to believe that the Brothers of Destruction are the ones that's going to be able to come out of this on top. Hulk Hogan is basically going to be the MC for this event. I can't help but wonder if he's going to get a little bit physical. I can't help but wonder what music he's going to be coming out to. Is he really going to be coming out to Real American? That would be hilarious. Him coming out to Real American in Saudi Arabia. That's going to be a big mark out moment, I think, for a lot of fans there in Saudi Arabia that grew up on the Hulkster, and now they'll be able to see him in the flesh. I would like to believe that I don't think we're going to see a big leg drop, but I would like to believe, if I'm booking this, somebody's going to come out and somebody's going to try and interrupt the Hulkster while he's MCing. Now, as far as who that could possibly be, I could picture a guy like maybe Aiden English coming out there, trolling the crowd and everything. Hulkster does something to him. I could see that. I could also maybe see, I'm just kind of going about the roster right now, I could even see a guy like Kurt Hawkins. I could definitely see Kurt Hawkins coming out there, talking some crap or whatever. Hulkster makes some quick work of him and everything. If I was booking this just right, I would love to see, I want to see that leg drop so bad, but we know the Hulkster, he just can't do it. But then again, you know what? For all the amount of money that he's being paid, one leg drop, I'm sure he'll be okay. I mean, if it's me and I'm getting that Saudi money, yeah, my hip and my back and all that may be hurting. But you know what? For all that money that they gonna be putting in my bank account, yeah, I'll do however many leg drops you want me to do in that 5, 10, 15 minutes that I'm gonna be there. But no, all joking aside, I could definitely see a guy like a Kurt Hawkins. I could also see a guy like... I just named him Aiden English. I could definitely see some guys like that maybe come out, try to troll the Hulkster as he's MCing. I'm trying to picture if there's anybody else. Hell, I could even see the Ascension come out and Hulkster just owns the hell out of those guys. So, you know, we'll wait and see how that all plays out, but that's pretty much how I'm looking at WWE Crown Jewel as far as predictions go for this Friday, November 2nd, 2018. And once again, the RCWR show will be live as soon as that event wraps up. I will be live on YouTube and on Spreaker. So while the event is on, definitely get at me at Twitter, Facebook, YouTube at the RCWR show. Feel free to interact. And yeah, once the event wraps up, hop on live. We'll do that after show, get you guys thoughts, opinions, overall takeaway for the event. That's going to do it. Hey, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure if you haven't done so already, you do subscribe. Click on that bell notification down below so you always know about new content that comes your way. Don't want it to sneak up passion now. So hit that bell notification so you always know about new content. And that is going to do it until the WWE Crown Jewel after show. Wishing you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another and may the good news be yours.